Fun fact, when a hippo is upset, his sweat turns red. Welcome to the Deadbeat Sports Podcast. I'm Austin Johnson. We're here with Adam Henry, Brendan Wilson, Tyler Doyle, Lucas Schultz, Taylor Durick, and we have Hugh Wachenko over on Skype. Hugh, you there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It
great.
just wasn't responsive.
We're going to start today with the big trade that happened yesterday between the Jets and the Blackhawks. The full trade was Andrew Ladd, Jay Harrison, and Matt Fraser for Marco Dano, a first-round pick, and a conditional third-round pick in 2018. Now, that condition is if Chicago wins the Cup, they get to pick. We all knew it was going to happen. It was just a matter of time. But I think the question everyone wants to know is who won the trade. Adam, I don't know. What do you think?
That's an interesting question to put on it. I think there's an argument there that both teams won the trade because I think we all know the Winnipeg Jets, we're in kind of in tank mode. Things aren't going good for us. We're not making the playoffs. Andrew Ladd wasn't going to sign here if he didn't get traded, so we were probably going to lose him for nothing. So the fact that we were able to get what they are saying, I don't know anything about Marco Dano, but they're saying he's an A-plus prospect, plus a first-round pick, and potentially a third-round pick. I think Winnipeg did really well, but then on the flip side, Chicago, they get a player who's won 2 Stanley Cups, an NHL veteran. I think both teams did really well.
And the Jets wanted a first-round pick. Florida, LA, and Pittsburgh were all in on it, but they backed out because of that first-round pick. But I feel like Chicago was willing to give up that pick because they were confident that they were going to make it pretty far.
Well, obviously, I don't think you can determine who won the trade at this point. There is a possibility that both teams won the trade. I personally think it was a great trade for both teams. Listening to people in Winnipeg yesterday after the game on the radio, I almost lost faith in Jets Nation because holy,
a lot of know-it-alls here.
Literally, the stupidest points were being made. Everyone was hating on this trade. Like no one else was giving us a first-round pick. LA was interested, but they don't have a first-round pick this year. Florida is not a contender. It could potentially be a contender, but they're not ready to sell their future for Andrew Ladd. And like, for people to say that Chevy is stupid to do this, like, I don't see any downside to it. We're not making the playoffs. There's no point of keeping Ladd around. If he wins a cup and he wants to come back to Winnipeg, there's a possibility of that. Chicago, there's no way he's staying in Chicago unless they.
I honestly don't think there's any way.
No.
Unless he takes an insane pay grade, but he wants $6 million. He's not getting $6 million in Chicago.
He's not getting I don't think he's getting $6 million anywhere. But another point for me that I thought was really important was Chevy made this trade before the trade deadline. Lots of people wait to the trade deadline, and there's no need to. Because if people hold out until the last couple hours, you got to move this guy.
Thomas Vanek.
Exactly. You're diminishing the value of your player because you're now in panic mode. Where if you trade him yesterday, which was the Thursday, I think that's a great move. And people were complaining about him trading him on Thursday. There's no point of waiting. If you have that offer on the table, you take it.
And Dano was actually a former first-round pick, 27th overall. He had 21 points in 35 games as a rookie, which on Columbus, who wasn't a very high-scoring team, that's not really that bad at all.
I think the Jets, sorry, Brendan, but the Jets Nation on TSN 1290 is a little bit than the rest of the Jets Nation because those Jets fans care to a different level. And
some of those guys called it on 1290.
Yeah, and
I listen to them in the morning, and they are hilarious.
They phone, they're funny, but they're also the ones who have lots to say too. But still, I don't know. I do agree with you in the fact that we can't decide who won yet because there's just too many future.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think, like you guys said, both teams seem to have gotten a pretty good haul. But I think there was a sense of urgency in Kevin Cheveldayoff to get this done with the news that Brian Little went out is gone for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think the deal got done when it did, because he knew that day that Brian Little was out for the season. So if there was any glimmer of hope for the Jets to make a playoff run, that was pretty much shut down with Brian Little being out. So I think considering that they knew the Jets were desperate to trade Andrew Ladd because of how much money he was asking for and how the Jets weren't going to make the playoffs, I think Chevy did a great job. But again, that's all speculation. We have to see how Dano plays out, whether the Jets keep that pick or trade it at the draft or whatever they do. I think there's still a lot to see. But I'm happy with what Chevy's done.
Sorry, I don't agree with you at all that it was anything to do with that with Andrew Ladd and
Camaraderie.
because Tuesday night in Winnipeg, Bowman was in the building. They could say he was scouting for Team North America for the World Cup of Hockey, but I don't believe that one bit. He was looking at Andrew Ladd. I think that's when they made the decision, and it wasn't they were just finalizing details. Like, I think it was decided before they even knew if Little was going to be gone for the rest of the year.
Well, how about this? Now that Ladd is gone, Armia stepping up to the plate.
Man, he had a good game. He had a very good game. Yeah.
Well, that's a big thing. Like, now that Ladd being here and Little being in the lineup, we're not that it's good that we don't have them anymore, but the door is now open for young guys to get some more ice. They're going to get more minutes. Ehlers is going to get tons of minutes. Armia's going to get tons of minutes. Chances are, after the deadline happens, they're going to call up, I don't know if it's going to be Patan. Like, now they have Dano coming in. There's going to be some players getting more ice time. So that's probably a good thing for the Jets in the future, I think.
I just wanted to go back to the initial trade. So I'm pretty sure that the Jets retained 36%. And also, how crazy is it that Dano, who's 21 years old, he's our age, is on his third NHL team already?
That is,
that's a little
bit of a whirlwind. We've all played on zero, so 7 of us combined, we have 0 teams. So good for him. He's got
that's
300
true.
as well.
Well, since Ladd is gone, I think we discussed this a bit last time. I think we all agree that Wheeler is probably going to be our next captain. I don't know if anyone disagrees with that.
I definitely don't disagree with that. I think
Not at all.
Wheeler, even though he wasn't wearing the C,
When Little got hit, right when Little got hit, Wheeler dropped his glove.
he's been the guy. Like, yeah, Bufflin's a heart and soul guy, but he doesn't have that same. Like, Blake Wheeler wears his heart on his sleeve. He says how he feels.
And
He's
Bufflin
not afraid
hates
to
the
call
media.
himself.
Bufflin hates the media.
Bufflin's a room guy. He doesn't
Awesome
need
for the team.
I think it's going to be. I do think it's going to be Wheeler the captain,
for
and
sure.
then Scheifele's going to get the.
He is, yeah.
That's what I think. Scheifele was on Hustler and Lawless today, and he says he wants to be a Jet for life.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I think
I think that's possible.
And I just like kind of completely off of what we've been saying. I think it shows a lot about there must be a good culture in the dressing room, and there must be something that the players enjoy about Winnipeg, just from how disappointed Ladd is to leave. Even though he's going to a cup contending team, a place where he's been, his family has to leave here, and he is flat out said that he didn't want to leave. He's a class act guy, Andrew Ladd. You can't say anything bad about him. It's just, I think it shows well on the organization as a whole, and that it's a good thing we have players here that actually want to be here. I think that looks good on the team.
Just a quick question: if we do sign Ladd again, does he become the captain again? If there's no captain that's been named starting next year, and we somehow sign Ladd again, is he the captain again? Yes or no?
I don't like. I never really thought Ladd should be the captain with Blake Wheeler having the role that he has. But if they don't announce a captain for the rest of the year and then Ladd comes back, there's no way any of the guys in the locker room right now are going to take the captaincy over Ladd. Like, if no one's been given the captaincy, then I don't see someone like Blake Wheeler like saying, "Oh, well, I was going to be captain."
It's a yes or no question, you guys.
Yeah, come on.
Yes or no? Come on.
Okay, moving on.
Quickly, but yes or no to everyone. Give a yes or no to that. If Wheeler does not, if there is no captain before the offseason, we sign Andrew Ladd. Do they give it back to Ladd, or do they give it to?
You can't give it back to a guy who's been traded. It's just
Okay, Brendan.
I don't think so either.
I think they give it to Ladd. I don't think Ladd would come back here. I don't know. I don't think they would take it away from a guy who's worn it for 5 years.
I honestly think.
I was going to say yes or no, but you beat me.
I honestly think, like, I don't think there's any chance of Ladd comes back. Like, if they weren't willing to
It's
pay
a
him.
yes or no question.
Okay, whatever. No.
Yes or no, next.
Well, I gotta say no. I'm same with you, so.
Okay.
All right, and Lucas, we don't care about your opinion.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the NHL awards. The trade deadline is on Monday. That is like around the three-quarter mark of the season. That's where we start to separate the contenders and the pretenders from not only the Stanley Cup but also the NHL awards. So we're going to start with the Calder Trophy. There are quite a few rookies having very good years this year. You know, Larkin, Panarin, Eichel. I'm not going to name my favorite. I'll save that for later. But Brendan, who is your pick for the award?
My pick for the award is Shane Goss.
Damn it!
I'm sorry, I'm butchering that last name.
Goss is big here.
Austin mentions how he doesn't want to. He's saving his favorite.
Yeah, I said I'm going to say by the way, and you name him.
He is playing on not a very good team. He set the record for defensemen.
15 games, yeah.
15 games in a row. He's playing really well. And although he didn't start the year up in Philly, he's played 42 games this year. And I don't really... I understand why a lot of people would think Panarin. The only way that I don't see him getting is because he's older than everybody else. He's been playing pro for a long time. And that's why I would give it to Shane instead.
And actually, right now, he's on pace to finish with 52 points, which would be top 15 all-time among rookie defensemen. If he played in a full season, he would have finished top 4 all-time for rookie defensemen.
I believe he's in the top 5 for points per game.
So he's got 34 points in 42 games. Panarin's played 61. So I kind of did the math on it. If he had played 61 games, he'd have roughly 49. He'd be second in rookie scoring. Panarin plays with Patrick Kane, who's leading the league in scoring.
Yeah, and that...
Goss is fair. He's literally playing on Philadelphia as a defenseman. His numbers raise the question, who cut him? Is he brilliant or is he really stupid? Which one is it? I don't know. I just wanted to bring up Connor McDavid. He's probably not going to be in the running. If he had played the whole year, he would have walked away.
Still might have a chance to win. Hugh?
Well, I was looking at Gostisbehere's point streak and then Philadelphia's record. They only had 6 wins in those 15 games. So, and I know that the NHL is a little bit different as far as the awards. They don't really put as much on winning, but Panarin is playing with Patrick Kane, yes, but he's on the best team, and Gostisbehere isn't having the same effect in the win column that Panarin might be. So I think that has to be taken into consideration as well.
Only two players that have won the Calder Cup, or sorry, not Calder Trophy. Sorry, Calder Trophy since the lockout have actually been in the playoffs. Tyler Myers and
McKinnon.
And I hear you on that, but you know what? I think that's wrong.
All right.
Why is that?
Moving on. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hugh, I disagree.
Moving on. All right. We're going to move on to the Norris Trophy, the best defenseman. One thing about the Norris, 8 out of the past 10 years since the lockout, 04 lockout, the Norris Trophy winner has finished first or second in points among defensemen. The only time the only time that hasn't happened is in 06-07 when Lindstrom finished 5th, and 08-09 when Chara finished 12th. So,
that's crazy. So, an award that goes to a defenseman who is supposed to be the best defenseman always goes to the most offensive defenseman. It just seems a little bit interesting. I had something that I wanted to bring up. 2 players I wanted to bring up that are probably not going to be in contention for this year, that aren't going to be in contention for the Norris Trophy. One's Aaron Ekblad. He's got 24 points. He's plus 17. Plays a lot of minutes. He's young. Plays on a team that's winning. So he's playing a lot of minutes as a defenseman on a team that's winning is a direct relation to how well you're playing as a player. Like, that defensemen are so important on a team, and if you're playing a lot of minutes, that makes it. And then
Adam's a former WHL defenseman, by the way, just in case.
He's throwing his hands
up.
A
little bit biased there, but that's okay.
And then the next one was Victor Hedman. Same thing. Not as many points. Great plus minus. Playing on a winning team.
And actually, what you said, the year that Lindstrom finished 5th in scoring, he was a plus 40. Because obviously, if you're a defenseman and you get a lot of points, your plus minus should be pretty good. Eric Carlson's 0.
He's even. He's
got
65 points.
And the only one in the top 10 in scoring who has a decent plus minus is Drew Doughty with plus 16.
Yeah. Just a name that no one's really talking about is Brent Burns.
Yep,
a guy like him who you can throw him on forward for
scores goals
3 weeks and he'll.
To be fair, that doesn't really.
He is the best defenseman on that team,
without a doubt.
he carries that team. He's an all-star, played in the all-star game, scores a lot, huge.
Well, he doesn't carry that team. There's a lot. Joe Thornton.
Okay, he doesn't carry that team. He's huge.
All right, that's okay. So, who do people actually think is going to win? Taylor, who do you think is going to win?
Let's take this into consideration. Adam, you were saying about how the defenseman reflects the team, right?
Generally speaking, yes.
So let's take a look at Florida. Doing tremendous this year. Best plus minus for a defenseman this year is Brian Campbell. He's plus 23 right now. He's got 20 assists, 5 goals. You know, we can't keep him out of consideration. Like, the team's doing tremendous.
He's like that team, they have a core defensive group, but none of them are getting 65 points, so they're not in the running for defenseman. In my opinion, Erik Karlsson's going to win the Norris. It's almost I think it's probably a shoo-in, but...
Yeah, I was just actually going to say the exact same thing as Adam. I think, as much as we're going to talk about different defensemen and debate over it, the NHL is probably going to pick Erik Karlsson because he has the most points. Even though someone else who hasn't been mentioned yet who is pretty close to Karlsson in points is John Klingberg. He's playing on a very good Dallas team as well. So Let's keep him in the consideration as
Not
well.
a very good defensive team, though. I think Carlson's going to win it. Unfortunately, I'm not a Carlson fan whatsoever. He scores points, but he is not a good defenseman whatsoever. If I was ever going to pick, if I had a voice in this whatsoever, I'd pick Drew Doughty. I think he could have won it the past 3 years. He's been outstanding. He plays tons of minutes. And he does score.
Duncan Keith is someone you can't write out
even
as well.
Brent Seabrook, even though he's in the shadow of Keith, there's so many good defensemen, and I guess I'm somewhat of a traditionalist. Like, I'm a huge Subban fan. Again, not a defenseman.
Well, yeah,
There's a little bias there.
I think there's a lot better options. Even Shane Weber is not having a great year, but he's another guy that should have won multiple times.
All right, moving on to the Vezina Trophy. Before the season, Price was obviously the favorite. Even when Price went down, it was really a one-horse race with Holtby. But in the past 15 games, Holtby has a save percentage around .89 and a goals against hovering around 3. So it's really anyone's race.
Well, my vote, I got kind of 2 that I want to go with. It's one of them right now I think is the best goal in the NHL, which is Corey Schneider.
Yeah.
He plays on New Jersey, not a good hockey team. They're 1 point, they lost tonight 4-0, but they're still 1 point out of the playoffs. They are first in goals against per game because of him. He's leading the league in goals against. And dead last in goals per game. And so if they can, they're 1 point out of the playoff race right now, and if they can make the playoffs, then he has to win the Vezina.
He does,
That's the sole reason for that. But my sleeper pick would be Peter Mrazek on Detroit. He's absolutely lighting it up right now.
That was also my sleeper pick. My one pick is Corey Schneider. Since the lockout, there's never been a team that has scored the least amount of goals in the league and made the playoffs. Corey Schneider's
That's an interesting stat.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's. I'm sure there's a very, very high percentage. I know one year.
It's the Canadians.
There was 1 year. LA was the second lowest team.
Go Leafs.
That did make the playoffs, but Corey Schneider's absolutely standing on his head. Peter Mrazek, super underrated. Jimmy Howard's been absolutely terrible this year. Shouldn't have been on the USA Olympic team whatsoever. But that doesn't
Okay, but so Andre Pavlik, is he a runner-up?
Since I'm going to be the asshole, Austin, you couldn't be more dead wrong about Holtby. 10th in goals against, 8th in save percentage. He's not going to win.
Peter Mrazek's
That's not a
leading the league in
chance.
save percentage, I believe, right now.
All right.
Yeah, at 2.0.
All right, clearly I'm an idiot. I got one more thing to say.
Leads in games started, minutes played,
He's sixth in save percentage. He's sixth in save percentage and has the most minutes
and he
played.
has 300 more minutes played. He's second in shots against. You look at every statistic as a goaltender to see who is the best. He is top 1 through 3, I would say, except for save percentage.
Another person we could consider, even though he plays on a really good team, is Crawford.
There you go.
Again, I think he's a very underrated goalie. Everyone just assumes he just plays on a really good team. He has a ton of shutouts this year. I think he has seven shutouts.
He's leading by 3 or 4.
And save percentage right up there. At some point, you have to give credit to him.
We'll move on to our the next trophy, which is probably the most important, is the Hart Trophy. An interesting fact about the Hart Trophy, Tyler, is that the Hart Trophy winner, before Carey Price won last year, since the 04 lockout, the Hart Trophy winner has either led the league in points or led the league in goals. And just FYI, the leader in points is Patrick Kane, and the leader in goals is, everyone together, the grade A. Okay. All right. Tyler, who would be your pick for the Hart Trophy this year?
I still think you would have to go with Patrick Kane, who's leading the league in points this year. Pretty self-explanatory. He's been probably the best player in the NHL this year. He has cooled down a bit of late.
Yeah.
So it'd be, there's a lot of season left.
It's not even close in the points rates either.
And I don't think you can disagree. Not only is he leading the league in scoring, he's also leading his team to be one of the best teams and probably the front runner going into the playoffs, which probably plays into being the most valuable player. He's obviously helping his team win a lot.
I don't know. I would say Kane still has to be up there.
Do we all agree Kane, or does anyone? Okay, Brendan apparently disagrees. Who would you pick?
I think he will win. I do not think he should win. If the New Jersey Devils win, 100% Corey Snyder should be the MVP.
I'm gonna
There's-
I don't
no,
maybe disagree
because-
with your opinion, but I think there's literally 0%
No,
chance
there's
that's gonna
0% chance.
happen.
0%
It's not
chance,
gonna
but
happen.
Making the playoffs, you think?
No, not that. Not just
Oh,
Corey Snyder winning the
yeah,
Hart Trophy.
yeah.
Not gonna happen.
if they make the playoffs, it is literally all because of Corey Snyder. There is absolutely...
Is it possible for you to shut the fuck up?
I'm gonna stop you there.
I'm sorry.
It's not a Jack, Brendan. Come on. It's definitely Patrick Kane. There's no
It's gonna be Patrick Kane. Let's move on to the Jack. Come on.
All right, the final award, which I don't think many people are prepared for, is the Jack Adams Award. There are a couple of teams that are actually exceeding expectation this year. We actually talked about the Devils with Corey Schneider. Florida missed the playoffs last year. Hugh, who do you think is going to win the Jack Adams this year?
I'm not sure if he actually will end up winning the Jack Adams, but I think someone that needs to be considered at least is actually Bruce Boudreau in Anaheim, which if I had said that 2 months ago, I mean, I would have been, crazy to say that because the Ducks, I think, were on the outside looking in around then, but the Ducks have been absolutely hot as of lately, and I think you got to give Bruce Boudreau credit for that. So I would consider him in the Jack Adams race.
All right, Brendan, who do you pick?
Gerard Gallant, Florida, completely surpassing expectations. First-year coach, doing really well.
My vote's gonna go to Barry Trotz. I don't want to be the boring guy that picks the team that's the best, but they literally all their stats are amazing. We're gonna talk about them shortly about how good their season has been. But my opinion on who's gonna win that award, I think Barry Trotz. I think he's really good.
Since you mentioned Barry Trotz, he has been the coach of the Capitals for 2 years. Last year, they made it to the second round. They were up 3-1 in series against the Rangers, and they collapsed and they lost.
As per usual.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brendan. Yeah, you know what? The Capitals are this year. They're having one of the best seasons in NHL history yet.
Doesn't matter.
And I know. I'm pretty sure everyone here, besides maybe me and Adam, they do not think the Capitals are going to win this year. Why is that, Brendan? Why is that?
Because there's been absolutely zero history of them being able to get through the playoffs. It's still pretty much the same roster. They still have the same coach, same GM of the past couple years. There is no evidence to show us that they are going to win in the playoffs, and everything matters about championship. And if you look last year, the LA Kings were not in the playoffs, but everyone was scared as hell of them getting into the playoffs because they have a playoff reputation of being really good and being really tough to play. The Capitals do not. They've lost. They've been up 3-1 against Montreal, and they've lost. And if you are that great of a team, you should be able to get through.
I'm going to rattle off just a few stats here of the Washington Capitals, just how good they are this year. First place in wins by a margin. Like they're
quite a bit.
They're dominating the league. Second in goals for, best goals against in the league. Number one power play, fourth best PK. Their stats are absolutely phenomenal. Now I get that. Everybody knows if you don't win Stanley Cups, you're not a winner. You're not a championship team. But in my opinion, last year was last year. They picked up Justin Williams. They picked up TJ Oshie. They've had Trotz now for an entire year and now into his second year. He's a coach that molds winning teams. In my opinion,
Who's he won with though?
Okay, that's
Okay,
a good.
that's
That's
true.
a fair argument.
He's never won. Nationals were good.
No, okay. That's a fair argument, but you can't deny the fact that he is a good coach. They had
He's
so
a
many
good
winning
coach.
seasons with teams that aren't that good. He's got
That's
a good
true.
team behind him now. Unbelievable skill. Don't even get me started on Alex Ovechkin and how good of a player I think Alex Ovechkin is.
Hugh, I know you love Ovechkin. What do you have to say about him?
I mean, Ovechkin's having a great season, and he might be. I mean, in this era, he's definitely the best regular season goal scorer I've ever seen. But the fact that he hasn't been able to take his team to the promised land yet is a really big issue for me as far as solidifying his spot in history. So this is certainly the best team he's had around him, at least that I can remember since he's gotten in the league. So if there's a chance for Ovechkin to lead the Capitals to a cup, it would be this year. But again, they haven't done anything yet, so it's really tough for me to really be impressed with the team because their playoff success has not showed that they're really that great of a team.
Well, I just wanted to touch on the record-setting pace that Washington is on to break all the regular season win records and amount of points they're getting. We saw kind of the same thing a few years ago with Vancouver. The 2 or 3 years, was it in a row or 2 of the 3 years they won the President's Trophy by a large margin? and did not have success in the playoffs. It just, I wasn't super focused on the Vancouver Canucks at that point, so I don't know what kind of transactions they had to gain players in the offseason like Washington has, but it would be tough for me to really get behind Washington if they have the same sort of performance that Vancouver does. I know Austin has a lot to say on this topic, so.
That's true, and just comparing this season to the 2009-2010 season when Washington won the President's Trophy with 121 points. Washington, they were first in goals for, 15th in goals against. They were first in power play, but 25th in penalty kill. This year, they are top 5 in every single category. Power play, penalty kill, goals against, goals for. They are the only team in the league that is top 5 in all those categories. So you guys are saying you've seen this before, but you have not seen a Capitals team that is this. They have never had.
What I have
they've never had a season like
this.
this.
I've seen a Capitals team consistently not win the playoffs.
But you've never seen a Capitals team like this. Top 5 in every category. You've never seen that.
It's the regular season. It's not the playoffs.
That's true. That's true.
Before Hugh talks again, I want to deflect back on what Hugh recently said about Ovechkin not taking his team to glory in the playoffs. I don't think it's fair to put the fact that Washington hasn't won in the playoffs on Alex Ovechkin because he's played 72 playoff games. He's got 70 points. To be almost a point per game in the NHL playoffs, he has performed. I don't think it's fair to put it on him. That's just my opinion. I don't think it's fair to say the reason they haven't won is because Alex Ovechkin's not good.
I'm not saying that Alex Ovechkin is the reason they haven't won the Stanley Cup. I'm just saying the fact that he hasn't been able to bring his team to the level where they can win a Stanley Cup is concerning for me. And Austin, I got one more stat. They're tied for last in rings too.
Oh, that's hilarious. Brendan posted that on Facebook.
Okay, well, first of all, it's getting a little emotional.
Yeah, it is.
Brendan and Austin here, so I'm just going to slow it down a little.
Speed it up, Lucas. Don't
Speed
slow
it up?
down.
Yeah, because we got to move on.
Exhibit A, the St. Louis Blues have been good, not President's Trophy winners, but up there almost every year for the past, 4 or 5 years at least?
They've been good.
And they never make it out of the second round. So,
that a TJ Oshie tier team, that's a guy that's never been out of the second.
No, I'm not talking about TJ Oshie.
And Justin Williams.
I'm talking about players that teams that are good, have been good in the regular season like the Capitals have been, and like the Vancouver Canucks, and they're just not doing well in the playoffs. That's it. That's all there is to it. And there's a reason to not be scared of them, just like the LA Kings. The reason that the year they made their first run, they were an 8th seed.
You know what? You can't deny that it is bad that the Washington Capitals haven't been able to get it done in the playoffs. They've had their chances and they failed. But you know what? You can't just because of that. You can't just say they're not a good team. Alexander Ovechkin.
I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah, okay.
They're not a proven team.
You call the Capitals chokers in the past 5 years. The only teams that aren't chokers. The only team that aren't chokers is LA and Chicago. Those are the only teams that aren't chokers in the entire league.
What are the other teams that chokers?
They're all chokers.
Have they got to the conference finals? Have they been the number one seed?
They have not been past the second round.
Okay.
All right. Taylor has one thing to say.
Have they been the number one seed and choked in the playoffs and lost? Have they
like I said, this year is different. This year
and
is
still
different.
lost. Those are facts. They have been chokers. Taylor, what do you have to say?
Guys, I'm getting scared.
You are one pathetic loser.
All right. I don't know. That was directed to Brendan, I hope.
No, that was directed right to Austin. I have to agree with Brendan here. How I compare Ovechkin is he is the LeBron James of the NBA.
Thank you.
I'm the NHL. The LeBron James, the NHL. Sorry. Okay, but let me finish.
Matt, this is a really disoriented podcast right now.
Let me finish.
Yes,
he is the best in the game. But guess what? Just like LeBron James, he can't even win. The only reason LeBron James won a title is because look who they had in that. Are you serious? They fucking stacked the team.
They had a very good team.
They stacked the team.
Ray Allen, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh.
The only thing,
the Birdman.
The only thing is, there's not a hockey player that has ever won the Stanley Cup by himself.
No,
I don't think anyone can say that a hockey player. There's not one hockey player that has ever put the team so on his back and no one else has done anything that has won the cup. I don't think, not in our era.
So what I'm saying is, you need a full team. It's the hardest trophy to win in sports. So it doesn't matter necessarily.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter where you finish in the regular season. It matters.
I know
when you
that's
finish
true.
the end
I know.
zone.
I'm saying this year is
They have a team.
They have a team. They have finally have.
They've also had a team in other years.
No, they haven't.
Hugh, what do you have to say?
I mean, I just think that the argument
I'm going to get a beer.
to make between basketball and hockey is very tough to make because, like Adam said, it's such a different sport and it's really tough to just rely on one person. But I don't think that that should be taken from. I think Alex Ovechkin still needs to be able to live up to his greatness, and greatness is measured in Stanley Cup rings. So I think honestly, if he won one, that would, just totally improve his resume like crazy. Yeah. It's not like he needs to win 2 or 3. I just think he needs to win one before we start praising him as much praise as he gets.
Okay, I agree with you, but I also disagree with you. I don't think if he was ever to not win, I don't think anyone could say he didn't have a good career. I don't think that'd be fair. I don't think you can play in the league and do what he's done, and just because you don't win a cup, you're not great.
If he scores 50 goals this year, he'll be only the 3rd player in history to score 50 goals in 7 seasons. That's unbelievable. In history, I'm just saying. You guys
he scored 30 goals every single season he's been in the league. Even in the season where they only played half the season, he scored 30 goals.
He's unbelievable. I know I've said this a lot, but this year, top 5 in every category. They have Holtby. He finally has support. This year is much different.
Okay, we need to move on because I'm going to absolutely lose my mind on Austin. He's such a homer. It's
just show me the rings, bro. Just show me the rings.
All right. Okay, we will move on to our last topic. It's Jose Bautista. He is demanding from the Blue Jays a 5-year, $150 million contract.
Ridiculous.
That is $30 million a year. That'll put him top 5 in the entire league in average salary. The quote that he had when the reporter asked him for a hometown discount, he said, "I don't believe in hometown discounts. I've been giving this organization a hometown discount for the past 5 years." That's what he said about the Blue Jays.
Is it possible for you to shut the fuck up for 10 seconds?
All right, let's start off with the $150 million. Awesome, that's complete rumors. Even Bautista said himself, it's total lies. There's no truth to it whatsoever.
Well, then why does...
And Pete Rose didn't bet on baseball.
Why does every major sports broadcasting station talk about the $150 million?
Yeah.
Once the rumor's out, then every sports network is going to talk about it.
Yeah, but that quote just goes to show you that he wants as much money as he thinks he's worth. By saying that I've been giving this organization a hometown discount for the past 5 years, and he doesn't believe in hometown discounts, if that's a rumor, I would not be surprised if he wants more than that $30 million a year.
Well,
I would not be surprised if he wants more.
Yeah, I'm just going to say he doesn't deserve $150 million.
No.
Just putting that there.
He's old.
He's don't get me wrong, great player, great at hitting, but guess what? He's an outfielder. Let's get that straight. He doesn't
pitch.
Exactly. He's not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, Dawson's going to be making $14.3 million for 2 seasons. Why would Bautista be worth twice as much for over twice as long?
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
He's 6 years old. He's old.
Yeah, he's asking for a lot of money, but I also can respect the fact, almost like what Darrelle Revis did. Don't want to change sports too much, but I like that he's challenging the authority of the corporation.
Yeah.
Itself.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole different beast, and we can spend a lot of time talking about that, but I think that that's respectable that he's doing that, and it's not because he's demanding money because he's trying to starve the people of Toronto. He's asking for the money because he knows that Rogers and MLS.
Yeah, he made very valid points on why he should be earning this money and everything, but he is not worth that amount of money. No one in the league will give him that amount of money. He's going to be too old. He is not going to be able to perform what he's at.
He's 35.
Yeah, by the end of his contract, let's say he got that 5-year, $150 million, he would be 41 years old. There's no way he's getting that amount of money. If anybody gave him that amount of money, they would be completely criticized, and for good reason, because he's old.
Well, I mean, the way I look at it is that Jose Bautista wants the money that he maybe could have pulled in over the last 5 seasons that he's played, not for the next 5 seasons.
Yeah, that's true. That's irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
That's his own fault.
I agree
It's
with
his agent's fault. If you think you're worth more than you got, you should have stuck out.
Hey, I agree. No, I'm just saying that's what I think Jose Bautista's mindset is. It's that, hey, I've done this much for this franchise and I've played this well so far, so you should sort of like pay me the way the Lakers are paying Kobe Bryant, as in
I agree,
they're
but
paying him for what he's done in the
Do
past.
you think he went in there and was literally like, you know what? Did you see what I did in the playoffs? Did you see that bat flip? Give me my money.
I can't imagine.
Maybe he may have said that.
I was like,
He may have
that
said that.
flip itself might have been worth.
Yeah,
$30 million.
exactly.
I mean,
I can't
he made
imagine
a country go crazy. He didn't just not a city, a country.
I can't imagine he's as cocky as an NBA player.
Yeah.
Guys,
Stereotyping, easy.
the Jays would be foolish to give him $30 million
They
a
would.
year. They
No
could
one
get
will.
2 decent starting pitchers for $30 million a year.
And that's exactly right. That's what they need too. They need pitching. Sure,
Totally.
they have,
I mean,
they have a great pitching staff right now, but
I don't know if they have a great.
Well,
Not anymore. Not anymore.
but
Yeah,
better
yeah,
than
no,
usual,
yeah.
but
Better than
they
had
lost
past
players,
year,
but
but not as good as last
they need
year.
people to perform in playoffs.
I can't think of another team to compare them to. But like the Capitals, it's all offense, no defense.
Are we getting
Sure.
back?
The Jays, no, I'm just saying the Jays.
Hey, let him talk.
Like they
It's
could
true.
hit.
That's a good
The
point.
Jays they can hit, but they were not very good at defense.
But-
the only reason that they made it past, like I don't know what round that was, is when the Rangers made 3 errors in 1 inning.
Yeah.
The Rangers don't make a whole lot of errors, and they made 3 in 1 inning, and that's why that helped the Jays win.
But having a big player like Bautista to be able to step up to the plate and
Exactly.
capitalize,
Yeah.
if they lose him, it puts a whole.
Sure, but they still have Donaldson.
Yeah.
All right, Tyler.
And you look at who they lost to with Kansas City, who has an outstanding pitching rotation.
Yeah.
They're defense first, and you can't. In most cases, your bats will not beat the pitchers every single game, and so
Which was the case last.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing. They need to.
They can hit whenever the hell they want.
Still,
They had a nice combination going on there.
They hit. They get on base, whereas
Yeah,
the
they don't-
Jays.
That's
just hit
called
home
beating
runs.
the
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Jays just hit home
I
runs.
agree.
Yeah,
They
like you
just
said.
hit home
Yeah.
runs. The Jays just hit home runs, and that's not how you shush. That's not how you should win. Also, I think in the MLB they really should shrink the strike zone because if they want to get more viewers, if they want to get more fans,
That's subjective.
but yeah,
We talked about having
need
that
to
Yeah,
have
we
more
did.
excitement.
Yeah.
The MLB's currently trying. They're trying to shorten games and whatnot, but right now in the world, it's all about offense. I'm personally not a fan of all
No.
offense. I'd much rather watch a playoff game that's 0-0 going into the 9th.
In baseball, though, really?
Yes, totally.
have you been to a Gold Eyes game when it's 0-0?
It's boring. Okay.
I
If
would
it's
much-
9-9 going
I
into
would
9,
much
it
rather
won't
have
be
a
as
0-0 game in the MLB than
I disagree.
12-12.
I hate baseball, by the way.
Playing those 0-0 games, that is the most exciting
Totally.
thing ever.
It's like a 0-0 game going into overtime in hockey. It's so intense.
so exciting.
And I completely agree with you.
Why are you
It's
yelling so
way.
much?
Yeah,
Because I am fired up.
Brendan's really fired up the past 2 topics. Hugh, what do you think?
I just think we need to bring it back a bit to Jose Bautista. I mean,
No,
he's
Yeah, how did we
what
start
he's been
talking
playing
about
under
baseball
is
and
a
not?
6-year, $78 million contract, which is very, very team friendly. So
Yeah.
the fact that he's asking for this much money is definitely too much. But I think if the Jays were to pay him for maybe 3 years, let's say $20 million a year, I don't think that would be totally out of the question to sort of, pay him for what he's done also in the past.
That's all we have for today. We'll end with some final comments. Adam, what do you got?
I just want to give a shout out to Team Manitoba at the Scotties, Kerry Anderson, their 3rd Syndicates. They're having a great week. They're in the semifinals tomorrow, or I don't know what day you are listening to this. It will be Saturday of this week, whatever that is. Tomorrow night is the 4th game. They're playing Northern Ontario. I didn't see the outcome in the game between Alberta and Canada, but they're doing really well for their first time at the Scotties. Jen Jones obviously going to be tough to beat, but good for Team Manitoba to do.
Brendan, what do you got?
Just continuing on, 3 former Manitoba women's champions are currently in the top 4, which is awesome.
Manitoba's currently
Go
taking out-
Manitoba,
and,
yeah.
and Matt Dunstone competing in the world shortly for the
Matt
junior
Dunstone
men's.
doing great. Competitor, he's doing great. My
Tyler.
actual comment.
Oh, no. Well, no, okay.
It's
Whatever.
about
Go.
Oli Mata. He signed today for 6 years, $4.083 million a year. That's really big for Jacob Trouba specifically because the Jets are going to use that as leverage of why he should get less money than he's going to be asking for.
Anyways, Tyler, what do you got?
I just wanted to comment on how great the state of golf is right now. You look at the big names that are on every leaderboard every week, how young everyone is there, and the game's just in such good hands for so long. I'm a big golf fan, big golfer, and I'm really looking forward to the future.
My
Yeah,
boy
I'm
Ricky
with you.
Bauer.
Sure, yeah. All right, Lucas, you're up, bud.
I can't pull a B-side sport out of my ass right now, but
You don't have to.
like you guys did. Those Like I can't talk about like handball or anything, but those are some good comments. I just think that you guys are all so smart.
All right, Taylor, what do you got?
Thank you very much, Lucas. I don't know. Anyways, my boy Duchesne, him the Colorado Avalanche, you take on Detroit Red Wings tomorrow, February 27th. Coors Field outdoor.
Oh,
Fuck, gotta love it.
Should be a good game. That should be a good game.
Oh,
That
best
should be a good
jerseys
game.
in the fucking league, and
All
Duchesne,
right.
nicest guy ever.
All right, Hugh, you're up. What do you got, bud?
I just got a quick little story that's not going to help Brennan's faith in basketball players. I was talking about earlier how Kobe Bryant signed a 2-year, $49 million deal. Obviously, that's not very team-friendly because they're paying him so much money. Apparently, at the start of the year, Lakers management went up to Kobe and asked to reconstructure his contract. And Kobe said, yeah, if you want to give me more money, I'm fine with that. So I just want to let Brendan know that happened.
They asked to reconstructure his contract?
yeah, I'm going to question your grammar on that last statement.
Can you explain reconstructure?
Final comment from me. Obviously, I'm a Capitals fan, but Chicago with Weiss, Fleischman, and now Ladd, they are going to be
Ehrhoff.
unbelievable. Ehrhoff is not an important.
Not a huge piece, but
He's
still.
depth.
All right, okay, that's true. This is Deadbeat Sports Podcast. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the next one.